Little Red Riding Hood. There was once a sweet little girl. Everyone only had to look at her to like her. She loved flowers especially, and her pride and joy was a pointed red hat. And because she wore this red hat all the time, all her friends came to call her Little Red Riding Hood.
Red Riding Hood, have you got your hat? It's quite chilly today.
Yes, Mum. That tickles.
Oh, another lovely bunch for me. Listen, Red Riding Hood, there's a cake and a bottle of wine in the basket. Be a love and take it over to Granny's. You know she's ill.
Okay, will do.
After a while, Little Red Riding Hood arrived at a crossroads in the middle of the forest. She stopped, unsure which path led to her grandmother's house.
What a sweet little bird! I wonder if this is the way to Grandma's.
Some time later, Little Red Riding Hood came to a little house. She stopped in front of it and thought about what to do next.
That's not what Grandma's house looks like.
Hey guys, have a look at this!
The Seven Dwarves were so taken with Little Red Riding Hood's hat that she had to sew one for each of them. And if she hasn't finished yet, she'll be sitting there to this day, sewing away.
Wonderful!
Do you really want me to have to sew a red cap for every one of the dwarfs? Yes? No? No? Thank goodness! Thank you! I wonder if this is the way to Grandma's.
Little Red Riding Hood was skipping happily through the forest, enjoying the scenery, when she came upon a man and woman. She spoke to them.
Good morning!
Look, she's got something to eat. Do you know that back there's an enormous field full of the most beautiful flowers in the world?
Back there? Really?
But Little Red Riding Hood's friendliness was not repaid. The other two had the audacity to rob her of the wine and all the food that Red Riding Hood was supposed to be taking to her sick grandma.
Quick, she's coming back.
But where have they gone?
And if she hasn't died of old age yet, Little Red Riding Hood is still standing there to this very day.
Do you really want me to visit my sick grandma empty-handed? Yes? No? No. Thank goodness! Thank you! That'll be the way to Grandma's.
Little Red Riding Hood skipped happily through the forest, enjoying the scenery.
What beautiful flowers!
Little Red Riding Hood loved flowers. How she would have loved to pick a bunch for her grandmother. But her mother had forbidden her to leave the path.
Good morning, Little Red Riding Hood.
Hello, little doggy.
Hey. Nice flowers, huh?
Oh yes, they're lovely.
Where are you off to, Little Red Riding Hood?
To see my granny. May I stroke you?
Who's the basket for?
I'm taking it to my sick granny.
What about flowers? You're not taking your granny any flowers?
Oh yes!
Little Red Riding Hood looked at all the beautiful flowers in delight. She quite forgot that her mother had forbidden her to leave the path. At the same time, the sly wolf slunk off to the grandmother's house, where she lay ill in bed.
Oh, Granny will be so pleased.
Go away, you little pest.
Wow, there are even more flowers for Granny.
Suddenly, Little Red Riding Hood found herself in the middle of a huge field of flowers, the like of which she'd never seen before. Thousands of violets and pansies, buttercups and daisies stretching away to the horizon.
Yahoo!
So busy was Little Red Riding Hood picking flowers that she completely forgot about visiting her granny. And if she isn't pushing up the daisies herself yet, then she's still there picking flowers.
You really want me to forget poor Granny just because I'm picking flowers? Yes? No? No? Thank goodness! Thank you!
Oh, where can Red Riding Hood be? Who's there?
Little Red
Little Red Riding Hood. I've brought some cake and wine. Come in, my child.
After she'd picked a bunch of lovely flowers, Little Red Riding Hood finally made her way to her granny's. But strangely, the door was standing open, and she had the feeling that something was different in the little house.
Have you brought a little friend with you?
Grandmother?
Hello, Little Red Riding Hood. Don't you understand, you stupid man, you stupid...
Grandmother, what a big mouth you have!
All the better to eat you with, my dear.
As luck would have it, a hunter was passing the grandmother's house. He'd been tracking the wolf for some time.
Have you seen the wolf? Oh, who's there? Grandma seems to be having a nightmare. Let's have a break. I can pick up the wolf scent later.
The hunter often dropped in on Little Red Riding Hood's mother, who was famed far and wide for her delicious cakes and excellent coffee.
How nice of you to pass by, Mr. Hunter.
With coffee as good as this, I could come a lot more often.
And if Little Red Riding Hood's mother had made enough coffee, then the hunter will still be sitting there to this day.
Do you really want the hunter to have coffee with my mum and not save us? Yes? No? No? Thank goodness! Thank you!
Where can that rascal have gone to ground? I suppose I'd better look in on Grandmother.
The hunter walked into the house and saw the wolf, who, he immediately assumed, had eaten the grandmother. He raised his gun to shoot.
Hey, what's wrong? Why won't you let me shoot?
Don't you understand, you stupid man, you stupid...
What now? What are the scissors for? Ah, now I understand. You think Grandmother's still alive. What the... Who have we got here?
Help! Help! Get us out of here!
Thus, the hunter saved Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother from the stomach of a wicked wolf. They all went into the garden to decide what to do with the brute.
Oh, Granny, it was so dark in the wolf's stomach. How are you, Grandmother?
I'll be all right, thank you.
We have to finish the rogue off. Shouldn't we use the...
No, not like that.
I know what to do with the wolf.
So Little Red Riding Hood took the stones and stuffed them into the wolf's stomach. Then she and her grandmother and the hunter found a hiding place and waited for the end of the wolf's siesta.
When is he finally going to wake up?
Who was that? Oh, what a horrible dream! What's that rumbling around in my stomach?
Hooray! At last! Yes!
The wicked wolf was dead. To celebrate, Little Red Riding Hood, her grandmother and the hunter sat down together and celebrated with wine and juice and ate the cake that Red Riding Hood had brought with her.
What unit?
A new pointed hat for you, my dear.
In blue?
A celebratory serenade.
That was most moving, really.
I'm so glad it's all over.
And if Granny had enough to drink in the cellar, they'll be celebrating to this very day. Do you want to go on playing? Yes? No? No.